And welcome back, folks, to another episode of Shade Tree Alex. And today, what am I going to talk to you about? Just may save your life, so stay tuned. All right, so one of the things I'm going to bring up to you today, we're going to talk a little bit about offset.
Offset?
Nah, not that kind of offset. I'm talking about the offset that's on your wheels. What is offset? Well, offset is what brings your wheel further out or further in, depending on if you got a negative offset or a positive offset. Now, most of these standard cars come with a positive offset. That's about 40 millimeters. This one, I believe, is a 40 millimeter offset. As you see with the 40 millimeters, when you have more of a positive offset, your wheel is pushed more into the wheel well. So what happens is, with the offset, this part right here, with a more positive offset, it's going to be pushed out further out here, so the tire goes more in to the wheel well. Now, if this was more negative, or would say like a 0 or a 12, this is going to be pushed more in towards that rotor, and this wheel is going to be popped more out. And it's going to be kind of riding around the fender area. You see it a lot in those staggered cars. So, yippity yappity, what about the offset? Well, when you go buy new rims, one of the numbers that are on the rims is offset. Now, what you don't want to be doing is, if you got, let's say, on the passenger front wheel, 4-wheel drive car, front wheel drive vehicle, that's a 40 millimeter offset, you don't want to be going too aggressive with it, sticking that wheel out too far. Now, let's say you put on an 18 millimeter positive offset. You might think that it's going to work okay out for you, but you know what? It just might not. And what's going to end up happening is the handling of your vehicle is going to be severely affected. Now, case in point, I had 18 millimeter offset tires, which, by the way, are for a rear-wheel drive vehicle, most likely a truck. And I put them on a Dodge Avenger. Actually, I didn't have them put onto a Dodge Avenger. I bought a Dodge Avenger with them on there. And so I got this car, and I was driving around, and any inclement weather, such as rain, snow, the car's handling was absolutely trash. Now, in dry weather, front wheels had so much grip. They would just bite right onto that road, and the turns were very aggressive. It was awesome. I didn't mind that. However, the rear of the car, totally different story. Loosey-goosey, okay? And what ended up happening is it drove like a rear-wheel drive vehicle almost. The car ended up fishtailing a lot, and any rain or wet pavement and snow was an absolutely nightmare. If you ever imagined hell, it would be that, but in the winter. Now, because of doing all this fishtailing stuff, it was kind of amazing. I would go through, for every one set of front tires, 2 sets of rear tires, because of the offset. What it was doing was, when the car is driving around, it's sliding around and fishtailing, and when it was doing that, it's rubbing these tires down. Normally, in a front wheel drive vehicle, the front tires are going out twice as fast as the rear. Now, I didn't figure this out until I started throwing parts at it. So what did I do? I put in a whole new rear end in this car. I put in a whole new rear end in the car, new shocks, upper and lower tie rods, even wheel bearings. Didn't do anything. Okay. Then I talked to my buddy, who's a master mechanic for Toyota for over 30 years. I said, "Hey, Dave, I got a problem over here. You know, my car is fishtailing out. I'm going through 2 sets of rear to 1 set of front, and it's just driving horrible and fishtailing out." He goes, well, you know, tires are everything. I go, I know that. He goes, I think you should get a new set of tires. And I really don't know if that's going to really cure my problem, but I'll give it a try. And so I went out, I bought me a good set of tires for the car. All new Ford. Put them on, jumped right in that car in a rainstorm, almost landed in a ditch. So it wasn't the tires. All right, so I went up to the front of the vehicle. Why not have it? We'll change up all the front too, control arms, the whole suspension as well. Boom, didn't do a thing. So now at this point, it's down to my last $500. And I said, you know, I got a really strong feeling it's those rims that are causing this problem. So I started looking at eBay, and at the time, a set of rims for the Dodge Avenger were $300 for a set of 4. And knew I could have got a set of 4 tires for about $200. So I said, wow, I can get nice, flashy, fancy rims again for about $500. And then I started looking at the offset, and the offset on those were 22. Okay, not as bad, but you know, I said, you know, I kind of have to put this car back to stock and see how it drives originally, how it came from the factory. Everything else is new, which just put on some steelies. So in the back and in the front, I put on some steel rims with regular standard tires. Jumped on the rainstorm, and that car, I jumped in a snowstorm and drove that car, and it had grip, it had handling, and it took off, and it drove like it should. So, case in point, offset affects handling and the way your car drives, and too little of it can affect the way how your car is going to be handling, and if you're not ready for it, it could cost you. There's a reason why they pay a man or a woman to sit in a little cubicle hundreds of thousands of dollars to design that number of offset for the vehicle run. They know what they're doing, so don't mess with it, folks, unless you really know what you're doing. Till next time, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. What is your experience with offset? I know some of you out there stagger your rims. Some of you guys have a lot of offset on yours, or too little. How do you like it? Do you think it affects the handling? Hey, let me know in the comment section, guys. Catch you in the next video.